Can you share what are some of those challenges or what are some of those courageous shifts that you are making or that you anticipate that you will have to make in the coming year?
First of all, when you're a woman and you're 55, basically people write you off in the business world. So I'm in the age where people are saying, "Ooh la la, Marina, you're making a rather bad decision here. You're deciding in the middle of your career to stop everything and then try and work for good." So fear is dominant factor in those cases. So you can listen to fear. I choose to listen to good. So I don't think fear is helpful. You can be fearful, but like my father said, is don't ever make a decision based on fear. Use the fear to eventually find a solution that's going to transform the problem into a benediction. That's how I'm approaching things on that end. When I was young in my career, many times I think you're afraid to say no. For instance, you're afraid to say no to money, to clients, to opportunities. You don't necessarily see the next opportunity coming around the corner because you don't have a crystal ball. So you say to yourself, if I do say no to this, what's going to happen to me tomorrow? And I've done that a number of times to some face of some of the biggest studios on this planet, one of which I can quote today because it's been a long time. But when one point I basically went across against management and said no to DreamWorks for working with them. And at that point, I really didn't have the finances in the group to say that. So it was a challenging repercussion on the whole group of a decision. I needed courage at that point to make that decision based on a number of elements that pointed to there's something else coming around the corner that you need to keep your eye on and not be afraid and invest your time and your team into. And that turned out to be a fantastic experience. Fantastic experience. I don't regret that at all. Other times I didn't say no. I also learned from that. Remember when Sega asked us to revamp their entire portfolio and their IPs and their properties, and we were working on Sonic and stuff like that. And this was maybe 15, 20, 18 years ago. And they decided to position it at a certain age target. And I followed with my team through, and I didn't have the courage to say no at that time. We needed the money to pay the bills and the salaries. And so we went along with them, and it was a catastrophe. So it was a catastrophe. Those are lessons that I take on board. We're not failures. Again, Mandela and many other people have said that. I don't lose. I either win or I learn. So that's pretty much what happened in those cases.
Yeah, that's beautiful. What you just said, right? You don't lose. You either you win or you learn. That's beautiful. And what you mentioned about courage, and especially when people are too quick to tell you what to do, or people are too quick to tell you that you are wrong or you should do this, to be able to lead with courage or to be able to say no, you need to have a certain level of grounding or a certain level of a solid foundation. Can you share how have you built that? How do you create that space for yourself to take care of yourself first, which allows you to take those bold decisions, which could include saying no with poise rather than with anxiety or self-doubt?
Wow, that's a great question. I haven't always been very good at that. I'll tell you the truth. As a mom, as a CEO, as a caregiver to older members of my family, I didn't always take care of myself. And I think this whole notion of burnout that we're hearing a lot about today, I've had moments where it was just too much. And I'm learning at 55 how to take care of myself. Because what you're saying, again, reading some of your material and hearing your conferences, you talk about that fact that you need to take care of yourself. It comes back to what I said earlier about being true to yourself. Yeah, it's part of that. You have to know who you are and like who you are. That doesn't come day to the next. You don't born all of a sudden like that. It's hard, especially when you're a kid or you're a teenager. You don't like yourself very much. Those who do like themselves too much tend to often have major issues mentally. So it's like it's a good period of your life where you're learning how to stay humble. Again, if you have support from your family, from people around you, and I say family is not always your blood family. It can also be the family you choose. Yeah, mentors, extremely important. I know that I've sourced a lot of energy when I didn't have more than 4 hours sleep a night. I mean, working 7 days a week, helping everybody, working with everybody, not thinking about yourself. I've had a lot of energy given to me through friends around me. I believe in life. I have a very strong belief system that I rely on. I think it's important to believe in something. having lived around the world and had fabulous conversations with people from different belief systems, crazy, all sorts of ideas. I love it because I think that's how we find to pick and choose what makes sense to us. And even those who told me they didn't believe in anything, they didn't believe in that something that was nothing, which I find very amusing.
Yes.
But it's great to have the things that are always physical. You can go do sports, which is extremely important. I did a lot of sport in my life. And I think that leading and sports have a lot of parallels. I learned how to work as a team. I learned how to push myself. I learned discipline.